Hey crafty friends, today we're going to make some twirled paper flowers. Now the ones that I'm making are inspired by these that I bought and I ran out of them for a project, so I thought I should go and learn how to make my own. So this is my result. Mine are a little shabbier and a little more colorful than the original, but I really like them and I want to show you how easy it is for you to make them too. You really only need a hot glue gun, some sheet music printout, and then some kind of scissors and color of your choice. So here you can see I have my piece of sheet music, and this is just a photocopy of my son's band music. You can use a copy from a book or actual sheet music as long as it's not too old. And here I'm using actually a piece of washi tape, or my roll of washi tape, as kind of my guide. That's about the size of the circle that I want, but you don't have to trace and cut. You can just freehand it if you are comfortable doing so, because the end result really doesn't matter too very much. So I'm just kind of doing this to show you about the size, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out my circle. So don't freak out if it's not perfect, because it really doesn't matter. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and I keep the sheet music face up because I think it looks better that way. And by the way, this is only text weight paper that I'm using. It's not cardstock. I think it works better. So now I'm just going to cut a spiral along the edge of the circle, working my way to the middle. And this is really almost like a scant quarter of an inch. Again, it's not a super exact science, but I'm just going to kind of cut around the spiral into the circle, just making sure that I don't, cut off the edges. So you can see that what you're left with is kind of this like a little springy spiral. And the next thing you're going to do is grab a quilling tool. Now, if you have one commercially purchased, that's great. If not, I have a really cool video on how to make your own with a cork and a coffee stir. So take a look at that in the cards. And now what we're going to do is quill up or twirl our little paper flower here. It's going to be cute. So you insert the end into the tail on the outside of the circle, and using just a little bit of pressure, you're going to roll the paper. I like to roll towards me, and what's going to happen is that entire spiral is going to just be gathered up into almost like a little paper bead on your quilling tool. And I just use a little bit of pressure because what happens is as you're kind of tugging that paper along, it bends it and it makes it want to twirl into place. So you're going to roll it up almost till you get to the end, and then you see that little, I call it a pad, but that little center part right there, you're not going to twirl that up. You're just going to kind of leave that on the outside for now. And then what we're going to do is carefully slip everything off of the quilling tool, and we're going to apply some glue right there in that little dot, because that's what's going to hold it all together. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so that you can see. Here I go, adding some hot glue, and I like hot glue because it grabs immediately and it's pretty sturdy. So I just use my little pokey tool, which is on the other end of my quilling tool, and I just kind of tap that little twirled spot into the hot glue. And you have a little bit of time, which is good, but just go ahead and nudge it there into shape. And you want it to unspool just enough that it kind of looks like a flower. I know, isn't that brilliant? So then you can just use your pokey tool and kind of tap it into place. It unspools just a little bit, and there you have it. You've got this cute little twirly paper ribbon. Now, of course, mine are not quite as perfect as the ones here that I'm showing you that came out of a package that then I colored with some gelatos. But I think it's a pretty reasonable approximation. And of course, I'm making it with, what I already have. And I've got a nice base here so I can glue it down. So really the next thing is just to add a little bit of color because I like it that way. So now I'm using the Fireworks ink sprays. I really like those because they have a little shimmer to them and they blend very nicely, but you can use really any water-based media that you have. The goal is just, not to make it so wet that it falls apart, but you can add dilution sprays, fireworks, gelatos, traditional watercolors. All of those make great colorants. And don't forget that when you put them on, it's going to be a little bit darker initially, and then it's going to lighten up a bit as it dries. So here I am making another one. I thought you might like an instant replay, and this one actually has a slightly better video quality. But this one I've made a little bit bigger. You can see that the size is almost more like a half an inch in width. So I just want to show you what a slightly larger one looks like. You can also get a better view here of how it looks when you're when you're quilling it up on the spool, there's that little kind of pad I told you about before, and I'm going to finish it off here for you. And as you can see, I am fiddling with this a little bit just to make it unspool a little more so that it's a bigger size flower. And there's your hot glue. And again, you can just kind of use the little pokey tool and hold it down and then just tap, tap, tap it right into place. Really, they're so easy to make and they're so much fun and they look so nice on your projects. A little technique to play with. Maybe you'll make some flowers. If you do, and you have Instagram, why don't you make a little something or make some flowers and tag me on Instagram. I'm at Craft Test Dummy, just like Craft Test Dummy is my blog, but just with one dummy because that's just me. Just one dummy is me. But tag me and let me see what you've made with some paper flowers. Quilled paper flowers. So simple, so easy. Everything old is new again, friends. And saves you some cash. So you have more money for those other things you want. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the hearts. I appreciate the shares. You guys are great. And I'll be back later this week with another review or technique. I haven't quite decided yet. All right, everybody, have a crafty day.